Hello everyone, welcome back to another video and welcome back to the challenge as well. Today we're going to be creating a landing page for a fictional VR company called Loopstudios. So you can go to frontendmentor.io/challenges and then just click this card and then click on start challenge. You can read the description if you want. I've already done that. Then you can click on get started and then download the starter file, which will download the files for you. And for me it's located in my downloads folder. And then I'm just going to extract. Where is extract here, and then just open this with the Visual Studio Code. And then you'll notice that there are a few things that are already here. There are the design files, the images that we need, and then the gitignore, the index.html, and then the readme and the style guide. So I'm going to be building this with the React. So before we actually get into this, I'm just going to open my terminal, increase the font size, and I'm going to cd into my desktop like that, and I'm just going to say npx create React app, and I'm going to call it Loopstudios Landing Page like that. And then I'm just going to let it run as we look over this in a moment. So the design files, these are all just the images for the active states. What we need to do really first. So for the active state, you can see there's a cursor pointer, and then there's an opacity right there on hover, and then you can see a small border on each of the links. And then for the desktop design, this is how it looks for the desktop preview. So this is how everything looks on the desktop. And then for the mobile design, this is how the mobile design will look. So we have the logo here and a hamburger menu, and then we have the showcase just like that. I think it looks very nice. And then you have the mobile menu, which is just simply this. And then for the images, these are just all the images that we're going to require for this project. As you can see, this is for the grids. This is the showcase image, the interactive, and the grids once again. And then the same way for the mobile. And then we have the favicon right there that we're going to place into our index.html that is generated from create React app in the public folder. And then this is the close icon, the X, this is the Facebook icon, the hamburger icon, the 3 dashes, the Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter, and this is the logo for Loopstudios. And of course we're going to also need this gitignore because we're going to copy it into the gitignore that is generated from create React app. And then this is the index.html, our boilerplate, because we don't want to keep on typing this over and over again. And then for the readme, if you need to go through this project, if you need to see the requirements, you can just go through this readme, and somewhere like oh yeah, I've just remembered, we're also going to submit our solution. Once we are done, we're going to deploy it, we're going to submit it. Where's the submit project? Okay, we're going to submit it on the platform Frontendmentor, just like that. I'm going to show you how. And then we're also going to deploy to GitHub because they're going to need the our source code as well. And then finally we have the style guide, where you have the designs are created for 375 pixels for mobile and 1440 for desktop. And then we have the primary colors, and then we have the fonts right there. And then finally the font awesome icons, but I'm going to use React icons instead because I find them much easier to use. Okay, so I'm just going to let this run, and then once it finishes we will continue the video. Okay, now that that's finished, we can say cd into Loopstudios landing page, and then just open Visual Studio Code like that, and then place this to the side by side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this images folder, and I'm going to copy it and then just paste it inside my public. So paste it, and then the gitignore, I'm going to just copy everything as well, and then paste it at the bottom of this gitignore, at the bottom, and then just change this to line 29, and this to 30, and then this to 36 like that. And then I'm going to grab my index.html, maybe not, I'm going to grab my readme, just grab everything, copy that, and just replace everything in this readme, paste it. And then I'm going to grab the style guide, so I'm going to copy this and then just paste it inside there. And then I think that's all we need, right? The index HTML. Okay, let me just do this because it's easier. So I'm going to copy it and then I'm just going to paste it inside here as well. And then I can close this, I think so. And then I can close this, and then I can open up the images folder, not the images but the design, and then just have this open in another window. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to open my terminal, and then I'm just going to install React icons. So npm install react dash icons dash save, like that. I was thinking about using Tailwind CSS in this project, but I think I'll be fine using just custom CSS. I don't think it's a big issue, so I'm just going to use custom CSS instead of Tailwind CSS. Okay, so as this runs, we can begin to grab our fonts. Grab this Alata and Josephine Sans. So open this. Okay, grab this font, use the import, grab this, and then just paste it inside my index CSS. So in my source folder, I have index CSS, so just paste it at the top, and then we need the other one, this one. Grab the 300, okay, 300, this one. Use the import once again, grab that, and then just paste it as well. And then we are going to remove everything inside here, and then remove all this, and then I'm going to reset everything. So margin 0, what am I doing? Margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing, set it to border box, like that. And then in my body, I have to figure out actually what these fonts go to. So I'm going to leave this just like that, and then I'm going to delete my app CSS and my app test.js. Maybe actually, let me just delete the app CSS, okay. And then I'm going to go into my app.js and then just remove these two, and then remove all of this, and then just return a div saying Loopstudios, like that. Just save that, close this down, and then let me see what else I need to update. So this should have finished running, and we see React icons is installed. Okay, nice. Okay. So one thing that I need to do is declare the font size for the paragraph right here. So where's my index? My index CSS. I'm just going to say for my paragraphs, I want the font size to be 15 pixels, like that. Oops. And then I'm going to grab all of this and set them, into variables. So just copy it, and then say for my root, I'm going to do this white. This is white, right? This is black. This is dark gray, and this is very dark gray, like that. Remember to place your semicolons, and we will have this. Okay, so once we have this, let me look over my index HTML. Let me just see. So in my index HTML, I'm going to look over my images, and I'm going to copy this logo. No, not this logo, but this favicon. I'm going to copy this and then just paste it inside my public. So, and then I'm going to delete this favicon that we have here. So delete this, and then delete these two logos, delete them. And then in my index HTML, I'm going to replace this with favicon. What's it called? Favicon dash 32 by 32 dot png, like that. And then we need to change this theme color. I'm going to do that in a moment. and then we need to change this and then set this to favicon once again like that, and then just delete everything from this manifest up to there, right? And then change this description to Loopstudios, and then just change this to Loopstudios Landing Page like that, and then just remove this comment. Okay, I think that should be it for this file, except the theme color. I'm going to deal with that in a moment, and I'm just going to delete this manifest.json file because we don't need it anymore. And then I think we have everything that we need from this file, so that's nice. Okay, so what do we need to do next? We have our desktop, let me just close this. We have our favicon, our public as well, and we have our source folder, and this is missing. That's okay, I can just remove this for now. And then we need to delete this logo actually, because we actually even not using it. This is the React logo that spins at the center. We actually don't need this, so I'm just going to delete it. And then yeah, I think we can spin up our dev server, so I can say npm start like that. And as you can see, our dev server is now running, so I'm just going to close these windows, place this to the side like that, place this on the other side, and then we can begin our development. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is inside my source folder, I'm going to create a new folder called this components like that, and inside my components folder, obviously we need our headers, so I'm going to start with header.js. You can call this whatever you want actually, but I just prefer to call it header.js. And then in my app.js, we need to do a few things. Let me change this into an arrow function maybe. So const app equals to that, like that, into an arrow function, and then at the top, I can say import header from components/header like that. And then we need to render our header. We need to render it, so I'm going to return a fragment and then just say this is called header like that. Save that, and then in my header I'm going to say RAFCE, and then as well return a fragment, and I'm just going to say, let me return an h1 saying header component like that, and this is what we would expect, right? Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to get our logo that we need to display here, as well as the hamburger menu. So in the public folder, remember I imported the images, right? So I'm just going to grab, this is the logo for Loop Studios. I'm going to grab this logo, copy that, then close this down, and then in my source folder I'm going to create a new folder called images, and then just paste this in, which is the logo, and then I can now import it into my header.js, and I'm going to say import logo from images/logo.svg, and then right here I'm going to return a header now, and inside this header I'm going to return a div with a class of logo, and then inside this div with a class of logo I'm going to return an image. The source will be the logo that we've imported, and then for the alt I'm just going to say Loop Studios like that, and then below this I'm going to return a div. I'm going to style this hamburger menu myself, so I'm going to give this a div with a class of menu-btn like that, and then I'm going to create 3 divs, each with a class of bar and bar-1. So this will be the bar-2 and bar-3. So this is the first dash, second dash, and the third dash like that. And then we need to return our nav bar. So nav, which has another list and list items that are, let me check my image, and here it is. Okay, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 about, careers, events, products. Let me just place this right there. so 5 of them, and I'm going to say I want each of them to be a button, so I'm going to say about, careers, and events, and then products, and then support. In case you're wondering why I'm using buttons, it's because React has an issue with using anchor tags which don't go anywhere. It always throws a warning. So in fact, they recommend using buttons and then styling them as links. So that's what we're going to do right there. Okay, and actually let me just go to the mobile menu, the mobile design, like that. You can go to the mobile design. It's much easier. So we have the logo and then the hamburger menu. Okay, so let's save this, see how that looks, and we have that. Okay, let me just check something. So this is a transparent header, so which means we need our header to be positioned absolute, which means the showcase will go below the header and then it will do. Okay, so for the header class, I'm going to give this, for the header element, I'm going to give this a class name of header, like that. Simple. And then I'm going to go into my index CSS, like that, and then just say for my header, I'm going to say, let me place a comment and say for the header, I'm going to say position absolute, position absolute, like that. Save that. Nothing happens, but that's okay. And then I'm going to say display flex, align items to the center, and justify content to space between, which will place them like that. Now the reason why this isn't at the end is because technically we have our hamburger menu that we haven't styled right there, and then we have our Loop Studios logo. So I'm going to say we actually need to create a showcase which will help us to better style this header, so I'm going to leave it at that for now. And then I'm going to create my my next component called the showcase. So I'm going to say showcase.js, like that, and then just say RAFCE, and then in app.js I'm going to import my showcase. So showcase, I hope that imports it like that. It auto imports, that's okay. And then inside my showcase I'm going to return an empty angle brackets, which is a fragment, and then I'm going to say section with the class of showcase, and then a div with the class of overlay, like that, and then an h1 saying what? Immersive experiences that deliver, immersive experiences that deliver. Now one thing I've noticed is that all the headers, all the titles have uppercase names. As you can see, this is uppercase, everything here is uppercase. So I'm going to just place a global style in my index CSS, and I'm going to say for my h1, h2, h3, h4, h5, and h6, though we won't use all of them, and I'm going to say text transform uppercase. And then I want to say each of these should have a font family of what we have imported. This is the 300 weight, and it's called, is this correct? Okay, it's correct. So I'm going to say Josephine Sans, and then a fallback of sans serif. And then for the paragraphs, I'm going to say font family, set it to Latta, and then sans serif as well, like that. Okay, looking very nice. So let's save that. Okay, let's save this. Let's see how this looks. We should have that, and now you can see that our header is actually positioned absolute, like that. So we need to add the background image for our showcase. So inside the showcase, I'm going to say for my showcase class, I want the background to be URL, and actually we haven't imported this image, so let me do that. The image should be because this is mobile, I'm going to go into my mobile folder, and it should be this one, right? So I'm just going to copy this, and then just place it inside this folder, the images folder. So just paste it like that. Okay, and then I'm going to say this is coming from my images folder and it's called image hero, like that. And then I'm going to set the background repeat to no repeat, and then I'm going to set the background size to cover, to cover, and then I'm going to set the background position to center, like that. But you'll notice something, it only takes up that much space. So I'm going to set the height to, let me say, 700 pixels. Move it to the bottom like that. Okay, looking very nice. So what we need to do next is take this text and move it to the center. So for my showcase and for my overlay class, I'm going to say display flex, and then justify, justify content is for align them horizontally, so vertically is align items. So align item center, which will move it down. Really? Is it not? For my overlay class, overlay, showcase overlay. Or am I wrong? Justify content center. Am I wrong? Oh, this is correct. I just need to set the height, so height of 700 pixels, which will move it down like that. And then I can now target my H1, so showcase overlay H1. I'm going to say set this color to white. Set the font size to, let's see, 46 pixels. Okay, let's set the line height to 1.6. Nope, 1.3, 0.2, 0.1. Okay, actually I can even just remove this. There's not much of a difference. Okay, let me just leave it. And then I need to add a border all around it, right? Where's this design? I need to add a border all around it. So I'm going to say on the H1, I'm going to say not on the H1 but on my overlay class, right? I want this to push inwards just a bit, so I'm going to say padding of 0 on the top and bottom, and let's say 20 pixels to the left and right, which will push it inwards. And then for my H1, I'm going to say border of 2 pixels solid and white, like that. And then I'm going to place a padding inside it so that it pushes away from the border, so padding of, let's see, 20 pixels. Okay, looking very nice. Let's reduce this to 1. Okay, 2 is much better. Okay, so now that we have our showcase, we can actually now style our header, because now we can see what we're styling. And just to get started, let me remove these bullets. So I'm going to say for the URLs, I'm going to say list style type to be none, like that, which will remove the bullets. And then for the button, I'm going to go below the P's, and for the button elements, I want the background color to be transparent. I want the font family to be Alata and sans serif. And then let's save that. Let's see how this looks. Remove the border, so border of 0, like that. Let me change the text color to white, like that. And then let's now style our because by default on a mobile screen this won't show, so let me style my hamburger menu first of all. And inside my header, let me just remember which class this was, the menu btn. So inside my header, where's my header, I'm going to say for my header and for my menu dash btn, I'm going to say background color of white, just so I can see where it is. Background color of white, let me say a padding of 20 pixels, and there it is. And then I need this to go to the end. Remember, we positioned it absolute, even though it's space between, it doesn't go to the end. So to fix that, I'm just going to say width of 100%, which will push it to the end like that. And then let me add a padding of, let's say, 10 pixels on the top and bottom and 20 pixels on the left and right, like that. And then I want to target each of the bars inside my menu button class. So I'm going to say for the bar is it for the bar? For the bar, okay, I'm going to say I want a width. Let me give this a width of 35 pixels and a height of 3 pixels and a background color of white. So I can remove this because we're actually going to see them now, like that. And then I'm going to say margin of 0 on the top and bottom. Okay, sorry, 0 on the top, 0 on the right, and then just say 3 pixels on the bottom, which will separate them out like this. Let's make this 5 pixels. Okay, and then now we need this to display as none because we don't want to see it on mobile screens. So I'm going to go inside my nav bar, right? So index CSS, and then I'm just going to say for my header, I want to target the nav, and I just want to say display none. Oops, display none. Like, oops, does it not? For the header, for the nav, for the UL, display none. Wait, does it not work? Okay, there you go. It displays none, and as you can see, now we have our logo, and then we have our menu button, and they are looking nice. Now I want this to have a cursor on hover, so I'm just going to say cursor pointer, like that, and we have that. Okay, looking very nice. We're going to deal with this later, so I just want to get the UI first of all. Now that we have our header and showcase, we need to create our next one, which is this interactive section. So I'm just going to call it interactive, right? And you can see we have so many changes to commit. So let me close this. Actually, I need this image first of all, the image for the interactive, which is this one, right? So I'm just going to grab, oops, where is it? I'm going to copy this, and then inside my images folder, I'm just going to paste it like that. And I've just realized this might be an issue on bigger screens. That's okay, I'll deal with it later. So now that we have this interactive image, I can go into my components folder and create a new file called interactive.js and just say arrayfce, and then just return a fragment and a section. And inside this section, I'm going to return a div first of all with the image that we're going to import, and I'm just going to call it interactive img, and with no alt, and I'm just going to say import interactive img from images, like that, and it's called interactive, what's it called, image interactive, image-interactive.jpg. okay, and then to render it, let me close this, close this. To render it, I'm just going to say interactive, and when I click this, it should auto import it like that. Okay, but I want this to be at the top, so let me render that. And as you can see, we now have our image, but it goes outside of the width, so let me fix that. And I'm just going to say for every image, let me put it below this. For every image, let it take up a max width of 100%, and it fixes that like that. So let's deal with our text. So below this, I'm going to have another div with an h2 saying what does it say? The leader in, oh, I actually have the index.html file right there. Where is it? Right there. So I can copy it, the leader in interactive VR, paste it there, and then below this have a paragraph, and then just grab this, copy it and paste it, and that will be it. We just need to style it. We have that, looking very nice, and then I'm just going to say this should have a class. Let me give this a class name of interactive, so we can target it and style it. Okay, so in my index CSS, I'm going to place another comment and say interactive, and for my interactive class, I'm going to say first of all, let me have a padding, so padding on the top of let's say 20 pixels. Actually, I have 20 pixels all around, right? So I can just say 20 pixels, which will have it all around, but I want more at the top, so let me say 50 pixels on the top and bottom, and then 20 pixels on the left and right. Okay, and then I can say for my interactive, I want to target my H2. Actually, let me just first text align center for everything here, which will push everything to the center. And then for my H2, I'm going to say padding of 20 pixels on top and bottom, as well on the left and right. Let me say 30 pixels on the top and 20 pixels on the bottom. And then for my paragraph, I said the paragraphs have a gray background color, is it not? So let me just set it here and set the color to very dark gray. Let's see that. The variable that we had set up, is it very dark gray? Let me say dark gray. Let me say dark gray. See how this looks? Nope, very dark. That's more readable. So very dark gray. Let's just confirm that. And we have this. Okay. Now you can see that this has a bit more padding than the general padding on the image on our section. So I'm going to just add a class name on this and just say class name of interactive dash text, like that, and then go back into my index CSS, and then I'm going to say for my interactive dash text, actually now this means this should be inside here as well, because we're targeting the H2 inside the interactive text class. So for my interactive text, let me move this up. I want to say give this a padding of 0 on the top, and then just place a padding of, let's say, 30 pixels on the left and right, which will move it inwards. Let's say 50 pixels, 40. I like 40 because this is technically 365 pixels and this is 500 pixels, so 40 is nice for this. And then let me just add a line height on this, line height of 1.3 to push it just apart a bit, and we have that looking nice. So now we need to deal with this section of our creations, and as you can tell already, we're going to create a data array because we don't want to import 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 images into our file. So I'm going to create a new component called creationsJS, like that, and then I'm going to say RAFCE return a fragment, and then just return an H2 saying our creations, like that. To render it, we just need to say creations, like that, and then import it. So creations, like that, and we can view it, creations, like that, and you can see our creations right there. Okay, so we need to create our data array, and our data array, we have mobile images first, so we'll be targeting this folder. So inside my source folder, I'm going to create a new file called data-mobile.js, and then I'm just going to say const data equals to an array of objects, and then just export default data, and then this will have an ID of 1. It will have an image, right? The image will be coming from my images folder, from my mobile folder, and this first image is called deep earth. Let's see deep earth. Okay, so image dash deep earth dot jpeg. Okay, and then it has a title, and the title for this, we need to have a comma at the end. The title for this is deep earth, like that, and we just need to copy it down 7 more times. So I'm going to grab this and then shift alt and just press down. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, change this to 8. Oops, change this to 8, change this to 7 6 5 oops 4 3 and 2. And then this second image is night arcade. Is it night arcade? Okay, so night dash arcade, night arcade, like that. And then this is the third one is soccer. So is it soccer? Oops, right, soccer team, soccer team VR. Okay, don't worry about the how the text looks, because it's all uppercase, so we don't really need to change much. And then the fourth one is the grid, so image grid, so grid, and then the grid, like that. The fifth image is from above, so image from above, from dash above, and then from up above, oops, above VR. And then the sixth one is Pocket Borealis. Okay, Pocket Borealis, and then Pocket Borealis. And then the seventh one is the Curiosity. Where is it? So image dash Curiosity, Curiosity, the Curiosity. And then finally for the eighth one is fish eye, so image dash fish eye, like that. And then make it fish eye, like that. Okay, and I've just realized that we don't need to do this once again for the desktop. All we need to do is just change this mobile to desktop, and it will be targeting because they all have the same name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab everything and copy it like that, and then immediately create another file, sorry, inside my source folder, and I'm going to call it data-desktop.js, like that, and then paste this in. And then I'm going to grab all of the mobiles, so I'm just going to click on the first one and press Ctrl D, and it will grab everything and just say change this to desktop, like that, and we'll have created our desktop array, like that. So first of all, we need to go back to our creations, and then we need to create all of this. So we need to import our data array. So import data from, what did he call it, data mobile, first of all, like that. And then I'm going to say const cards, oops, cards, and set cards equals to react.useState, use state, and we're using our data. This is another way to use the use state if you don't want to import it up above. And then I'm going to say inside here I want to return a section, and then I want to map over my data, so cars.map, and for every individual card, then we just want to destructure it. We have the ID, the image, and the title. This will be coming from card, like that. And then set up my return. I want to return an article with the key of ID, right? And then this article will have the image, right? The path for this will be the image. The alt, I'm just going to say creations card, like that. And then we're going to have an H3, let me say an H3 saying title. This should be it. Let me place this inside a div. I feel much safer when it's inside a div. And then actually I can leave this because this is already a block element. So let me save that, and then let's take a look. And look at that, we have this looking very nice. Okay, but we need to have our H2. I don't know why I deleted it, so I'm just saying H2 saying our creations, like that. And then give this a class name. Actually, let me go here and just say section class name not interactive, this is creations dash mobile, like that, so that I can target every element inside here. Okay, and notice that it's changed here and it changed at the end here as well, so remember to change it at the end. So I'm just going to go inside my creations mobile class. So I'm going to say creations dash mobile. I'm going to say creations dash mobile. I want to target the H2 first of all, and I want to say text align center, which will move it to the center. Let me say padding bottom of 20 pixels, which will move it apart from this. Let's say 30 pixels. Move it even more apart. And then for the creations mobile class, I want to add a padding so that these move away from the edge of the browser window. I'm going to say padding of 0 on the top and bottom and 20 pixels on the left and right. Okay, and then now for my section, which has all of this, remember this is a section, sorry, this one, for this section I want to display this as a grid so that I can manipulate this on bigger widths. So I'm going to say for my creations mobile, I want to target the section and just say display grid with template columns, not repeating but one fractional each, and then add a grid gap of 20 pixels so that they move apart like that. And then for the H2, actually not for the H2 but for this first div, actually there's only one div inside here, so I can only target it. I can say for my creations mobile, I want to target the div and I want the div to position relative. The reason why I want this to position relative is because I want to position this as absolute inside this div. And actually I'm doing this wrong. I want the article to position relative. Is that correct? That should be correct. So let me change this to article. And then for the H2, I can just say position absolute. And then I'm going to say from the bottom, let me have 20 pixels from the bottom. And nothing happens. Why does nothing happen? Let me change this to the div. And nothing still happens. Creations mobile H2. I'm even targeting oh, this is an H3. It's an H3, so this should be an H3, and we have that. Look at that. So from the bottom, let me just say 0. Okay, so it's not let me remove this padding from there. Okay, so it goes down. So I'm going to say padding of 0 on the top, 0 on the right, and then let me just say 20 pixels on the bottom and 20 pixels on the left. Move it inwards just a bit. Let me change the color to white like that. And then let me change I thought I had text align center on this. Apparently I did not, or I targeted it wrongly. So text align center, move it to the center, padding bottom 30 pixels like that. Okay, let me increase the font size for this H3s. For the H3s, let me say font size, let's say 30 pixels. Nope, 24 pixels. 24 pixels is much better. And then let me give them a width of 192 pixels like that. Let me see how this looks. So Deep Earth, Night Arcade, they all have a width. So let's say a width of 180. Nope, 150. So that they go on 2 lines. Okay, let me remove this text align center from here, and we have that. Look at that. Let me just increase the line height. So line height, set that to 1.3, so that they separate out just a bit. And look at that, we're already done with this. So let me just add a padding on the bottom. Actually, you know what, for the H2s, I want the H2s to be just a bit bigger than this. I want them to be just a bit bigger. So let me go back to the top, and let me just say below this, let me target the H2s, just say the font size how large is an HT? Is it 30 pixels? Yeah, 30 pixels is fine. It's bigger already. So let me go into my creation for my creations mobile. My creations mobile right there. I'm going to say padding of 50 pixels on the bottom, so that we have some margin right there where we can now add. Oh, we have a button. I missed the button, so we need a button first of all. So inside my CreationsJS, I'm going to go let me go outside of this section, and then I can create a div and just say for the button, let me say the text says what, see all, like that. Give this a class name of btn, and it should render, right? Can't see it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So let's style it. So inside my creations mobile, I want to target my btn, and first of all, wait a minute, let me give this a class name of btn-container, because I want the button to be text align center. So I'm going to say btn-container and just say text align center, move it like that, and then let me say padding of 30 pixels on the top and bottom, and 0 on the left and right. And we have that. And then now I can target my actual button, so btn, like that. And I'm going to say, let me give this a border of 2 pixels, solid and black, like that. Let me give it a padding of, let's say, 10 pixels on the top and bottom, and 30 pixels on the left and right, like that. Let me change the text color to black. Once again. Let me say text transform uppercase. Let me say what else do we need to do? Cursor pointer, and then we need the hover state for this, right? So for my hover state, I'm going to say I want the background color to be black, and then I want the text color to be white. And then let's have a transition here. So transition the background color by 0.2 seconds. Look at that, looking very sharp, very nice. And then finally we need to make our footer. So we need our footer component, of course. Where is it? Inside my components folder, I'm going to create a new file called footer.js, right? And then I'm going to say ifce, return a fragment, and then return a footer element with a class of footer, and then return let me return a div, right? Return a div, because this on bigger screens, let me see how this looks on bigger screens. Look how it looks on bigger screens. So technically I want this to be one element, and then this to be the other element. So what I can do is I'm going to say return a div, and we need the what's it called, the logo. So I'm going to import the logo. So import logo, just like we did in the header. So import logo from go up one, from images /logo -.svg. So we need to have this logo. So image, the source is coming from the logo. Okay, and then once we have this, I want a UL, right, with LIs how many? Actually, let me just copy this from the header. Where's my header? From my header component, just going to grab this, copy that, and then in my footer, just come and paste that. But then I want this to be inside a div, so that when I display flex, it also displays as a flex item. So this is one element containing 2 block elements, okay? And then outside of this, I'm going to have a div, and this is where React icon comes in. So I'm going to have a UL with LIs. How many? 4 of them. And we're going to get this from GR Facebook. So this is a React icon that we're going to import. The second one is FA Twitter. The third one is FA Pinterest. And the final one is FA Instagram. Like that. And we need to import them, of course. So I'm going to say import GR Facebook from React icons /gr, and then import FA Twitter, and then FA Pinterest, and then FA Instagram from React icons /font awesome, like that. And then now inside this div, but below this UL, I want to have another div with a copyright symbol, so ampersand copy, and then say 2021 Loop Studios, all rights reserved, like that. And that should be our footer. We need to display it, so I'm just going to go below this saying footer, and it should auto import it for me, but I want it. Okay, there you go, looking very nice. So let's see how this looks. Reload it. Fade to compile. Oops, in my footer this is a capital P. There you go, and we will have that like that. So let's begin to style it. So inside my index CSS, let's say the comment saying footer. I'm going to target my footer, give this a background color. Oops, background color of black once again, like that, so we can actually see now what we are styling. Let me give this the text color of white, so that we can actually we can see all the elements. Okay, let me add a padding on the top of 50 pixels as well as on the bottom. Push it down just a bit, and then just say text align center. Push it to the center like that, and then let me target this UL. So for this UL, let me close this. So for this UL, I'm going to give this a special class name of social, so that I can target it individually, because this is displayed as a flex item, as flex box really. So I'm going to say for the footer, first let me target this div. Let me target this div with a class of logo, class name logo, like that, which contains this div and this UL. Oops, save this. So I'm going to say for the footer, I want to target the logo, and I want the div inside here. So I'm going to say for the div, let me just say margin bottom of 20 pixels. Oops, of 20 pixels. It doesn't move. Why doesn't it move? Really? That's okay. I can target the image and just say margin bottom of 20. Let me say display block. Reload it. Display. Oh my goodness. You know what? I don't want to deal with this, so let me just give this a class name, and I'm going to grab this and just paste it inside there. So this should move it down like that. And then for my footer, for the, once again, let me say for the ULs, let me just target all the ULs like that. And I'm going to say margin bottom of 20 pixels, which will push this down as well. Let's say 30. Let's see how 30 looks. 30 looks fine. And then for the footer, ULs and the LIs, I want a margin bottom. I want a margin bottom of 20 pixels, so that these separate out, and I know it will affect this as well. So we have that. And then now I can target my footer, and I can target the social class. And then for the LIs, I'm just going to say margin bottom of 0. which will do that. And then I can say for the footer, for the social class, I just want to display flex on them. This will happen, and then I'm going to say align item center and just content center and push them like that. And then I want a margin right of 20 pixels, which they push them apart. Let me increase the font size to 30 pixels. Nope, let's say 24 pixels, like that. And would you look at that, we have our footer. One thing we still need to do though is this hasn't taken up the text, the font family I mean. So I can go back to my footer and then target this class and just give this a class name of copyright like that, and then target it footer.copyright. Give this font family of Alata and sans serif, and we have that. Change the text color to dark gray, like that. Font size, reduce it to, let's say, 15 pixels, like that. Looking very nice, very nice. So now all we need to do is just scale it up, right? So to scale it up, where do we start? I'm going to start with the showcase, right? And I'm going to scale it up starting from about 1024 pixels. So I'm going to add, what I do, let me see, I'm going to say for a media with a mean width of 1024 pixels, then I want the showcase. Okay, I've just remembered something. We need to import the image. Okay, so since we need to import the image, we need to separate them out because they have the same name even though this is for mobile. Okay. So inside my images folder, I'm going to grab these two. I'm going to cut them. So I'm going to cut them, and then I'm going to create a new folder here called this mobile, and then just paste them in like that. And we need to update our imports, and then inside this images folder, I'm going to create a new folder called desktop, and then I'm going to import the hero image as well as the interactive image. So I'm going to say for the interactive and the hero image, copy these and then paste them inside this folder. So paste them like that. Okay, and then we need to go back to our showcase and update our path. So this is coming from mobile slash like that, and then actually I just need to copy this, just grab this, paste it there, change this to desktop, and then remove this, and that should work. I thought I'd complete this. Interactive, where's our interactive? Our interactive, this is coming from mobile as well, like that. This should fix it. Reload that, and there you go. So we still have everything that is correct, looking very nice. Okay, so let's just scale it up now. Okay, and you can see now that we added this media query, once it reaches 1024 pixels, then it substitutes the hero image for our new desktop image, as you can see, looking very nice. So what we just need to do now is increase the font size for this and then limit its width. So I'm going to say for my showcase, for my overlay class, I want to target the H1, and I'm going to say give this a width of 500 pixels. Let's see how that looks. Let's say 800, not 8500, 800, and then let's see 700. Let me increase the font size. So I'm going to say font size, increase this to 64 pixels, and then let me add margin on the top of 30 pixels so that it just pushes down just a bit. Let's say 100, pushes it down just a bit. Okay, like that. And then now we need to deal with this. Okay, so for this I'm going to do something very cheesy, and I'm going to say I'm going to add a media query for Once 1024 pixels is reached, then we're going to substitute the component that is displayed. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another component. Close this. I'm going to create another component called CreationsDesktop.js, like that, and it will basically have almost the same style as this. So I'm just going to grab all of this and then paste it inside here, and then just change this to CreationsDesktop, and then change this to CreationsDesktop as well. And now remember, this is now coming from data from data-desktop that we created a few moments ago. And once I save this, something will be a bit different that we'll need to fix. So this will now come to the top, as you can see in our image. Where is it? Right here. Now the button comes from the bottom to the top, as you can see, and I don't want to use absolute positioning because it really messes up with the responsiveness. So I'm going to grab this, move it right there, and then I'm going to place all of this inside a div with a class of title, like that, so that we can display flex on this and then justify content to be space between, which will move them to the side, as you would expect. And then I'm going to say, what else do I need to change? These remain the same, so let me save that, and then let me go into my app.js. Let me import it. So I'm going to import it right below this, and I'm going to say CreationsDesktop, like that. Copy this down, change this to CreationsDesktop, like that. And once I save it, it's going to interfere with our, with everything really, as you can see. So we just need to style it up a bit. Okay, so in my Creations.js, remember this has a class of Creations Mobile, and in my Creations Desktop, I'm going to change this to Creations Desktop, like that. And then once I save this, I'm going to go into my index CSS, and I'm going to add a media query above this, and I'm going to say at media min width of 992 pixels. Then I want the Creations Mobile to display none, like that. And then I want the Creations Desktop to display block, like that. The reason for this is because we're going to display it as none at the top, so that in the beginning it's actually displaying as none on a mobile screen. So I'm going to go above here and then just change this to none, like that, and this should fix it. So we have our desktop right there, and we have, as you can see, we no longer have our element. We just need to style this now. Oh wait, where's my button? My button is missing. Oops. Creation desktop, this is my button. See all. Why isn't it showing? Oh, that's okay. So let me go into my Creations Desktop. So inside my media query right there, so Creations Desktop, like that. I want to target the class of title, the div with the class of title, just say display flex. Where's my button? Oh, here's my button. Okay, there is my button. So I'm just going to copy the styles that I had on the button for starting from here up to here. Copy that and then just paste them inside this media query, and then just change this and this, change this to desktop, right? That should do it, like that. And then I can say remove the padding. Where's the padding that I had right there? Remove this padding so that it goes back to the top. And then right here I'm going to say align item center and justify content to space between, which will push it to the end, like that. And then let me add a padding of 0 at the top and bottom and 20 pixels to the left and right, which will move them inwards. And then now we just need to display these as a grid, right? So I'm going to say, let me see, this is the section. I want this section to display as grid. So I'm going to say inside my Creations Desktop, my creations desktop, I want the section, and actually this shouldn't be here, this is below the btn, so I'm going to grab this, copy it below this, and I'm just going to say display grid, grid template columns, repeat 4 and 1 fractional each, and we have that. Look at that. Wait, what's wrong? What is wrong? What is wrong? What is wrong? What is wrong? Something's wrong. What style did I apply? What style did I apply? This is the button. The button. Creations desktop. Article. The article. Where is the article for this? Data get the article. Only position relative. Okay. So let me say padding of 0 and 50 pixels on the left and right. Push it inwards, but I don't want that. Instead, I want this 992 pixels. So I'm going to say, actually, you know what? I'm going to say I should have done this inside 1024 pixels. So I'm just going to grab all of this. So just cut it, remove it from here, and then I'm going to paste it below this, and it should have the same effect like that. And then I'm just going to say what do I want to say? For the section, let me remove this padding first of all. Okay, and then instead let me say max width, max width of 1000 pixels, and just say margin of auto, which will push it like that. And then we can now add a grid gap of, let's say, 20 pixels, separate them out. Okay, this is 1024 pixels, so I need to add another media query, and let's say media of, let's say 1280 pixels. Min width of 1280 pixels, and then I'm just going to say grab this, actually paste that in, change this to 1100, and we only need that one actually, like that, which will increase it just a bit. Which means, because I want this to all line up, I need this to push inwards and this to push inwards as well, and then I'm going to need these to push inwards as well. Okay. So let's do this. First of all, we actually need to do this. I don't know why I missed this, so I'm just going to say it's the same styling as them that we had above. So inside this article, I want to grab all this, copy this, and just paste it below this. Should it be below? Position relative. This is creations desktop. This is desktop as well. Let's see that. Pushes it up like that and looking very nice, so that's fine. And then let's add a padding on the top and bottom for this. So I'm going to say padding on the top of the section desktop. Where is it? Let me say padding of 50 pixels on the top and bottom. Okay, so now let's deal with this for the header. So this, where is it? For the title, I'm going to grab this. So once I grab the title, this is still inside the same media query. Okay, so I'm going to say give this a max width of 1000 pixels, was it? And just let's see how that looks, and then just say margin of auto. Margin of auto, like that, which will push it inwards, so which means I can remove the padding. With this padding coming from? it's coming from, you can see it for my title. There's no padding. Let's see, padding 0. Okay, let's see, padding 0 on the top and padding 30 pixels on the left and right. Oops, no, the opposite. 30 pixels on the top and 0 on the left and right, which will push it down. So this needs to, oh, I know why, I understand why. So I'm going to grab this and then just change this on this media query like that. Change this to max width 1100 pixels, and now it's going to go end to end like that. And now we need the hover state for this. So on hover, this has a cursor pointer and it has some opacity on it, so we need to target the, what's it called, the, is it the div or the articles? Let me see. We need to target the article, so I have it right here, and I can just go below this and say for the hover state I want the opacity to be 0.7 like that, and then cursor pointer like that. And then we need to do this, the same thing, we need to do this for the other, for the Creations mobile. So let's say Creations mobile for the article, that was it right there. So I'm going to say Creations mobile, the article, just paste it in, and now even if you go to mobile screens, as you can see, we now, oops, I want the hover like that, looking very nice. Okay, so we need a few more things before we are done, and we need first of all to fix this footer. So I'm going to say for media, I'm going to start displaying flex on the footer at about 768 pixels. So I'm going to say media min width of 7, oops, what am I writing, min width of 768 pixels. I want to target the footer, oops, the footer, and I just want to say text align initial, is initial a value, like that. And then I want to say for the footer, for the social, I want to display as initial as well. Let me see, initial, so that it resets everything like that. And then let me have a padding, of it was 50 pixels on the top and bottom, and let's just say 50 pixels all around. Push it inwards, and then display flex. So we have that, display flex, and then align items to the center. Should I? Let's see, align item center, oops, flex, align item center, and then justify content to space between, push it end to end like that, and then target this, now this UL, right? And I actually don't want this align item center because I want this to be at the top like that. So let's see, let's deal with this. So where was that? For the ULs, I can just target the footer ULs. So I can say for the footer ULs, I want to display flex like that. Okay, looking very nice. And then I can say for the footer ULs and the LIs, I want a margin of 0 on the top and bottom and 20 pixels on the left and right. And then let me increase the font size. Increase this to 18 pixels. Or does that not work? Let me target the actual button. So I'm going to say for the footer ULLI and the button, I want the font size to increase to 18 pixels. So with that we have that. And then let me say, instead of this, let me say 0 and 0, so that there's no margin right there beginning it. So we still have this, right? And then now I can deal with this footer. So I can say for the footer social, let me say display flex. So we have that already and looking nice. And actually that's how the footer looks. So one more thing I just want to change is on hover, I want this to be a cursor for the button. So I'm going to go into my global style for my button, and I'm just going to say cursor pointer like that, and we have that. Looking very nice, very nice. So now all we need to do is limit it for about 1000 pixels. So where was it? So I'm just going to go below this. I'm going to say for the footer, let me have a max width of 1100 pixels, and then margin of auto, like that. Oops, that's not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted. So I'm going to remove this. Actually, instead of removing that, I can instead say grab all of this, grab everything inside the footer, and place it inside another div with a class of footer-inner. That messes up the styling. I was expecting that. Okay, so let me remove this. And instead say, let me have a padding of 50 pixels on the top and bottom, and let's say 100 pixels, 150 pixels on the left and right, which will move it inwards. And then just grab this, paste it below this, change this to 200 pixels, which will move it even more inwards. Let's say 250, like that. Okay, so what do we need to do? We just need this now. Okay, and one thing I've noticed is that I'm actually going to change this image, you know what, for the interactive. So we are done with the creations. So for the interactive, instead of using the mobile image, I'm going to use the desktop image, which is just a bit bigger, but technically it doesn't have much of a difference. As you can see, there's not really much of a difference. And then I'm going to say for my interactive, at about 902 pixels. Where was that? I deleted that, the media query for that. So I'm going to create it. Maybe, should I? Let me see, at media with a min width of 902 pixels. I'm going to say I want to target my interactive class. I just want to say, I want to say display grid, display grid with template columns, repeat 2 and 1 fractional each, like that. And then I want to target this grid, this div with a class of interactive text. It was interactive text, like that. And then I want to say position absolute, like that. And then I want to say set this to a width of 800 pixels, like that. Set it to the right by 100 pixels, like that. Set it to the bottom by minus 20 pixels. Oops, let me see, bottom minus 10%. Really? Oh, I know why. It's because this has to be position relative. Yeah, there you go. That's why I don't like absolute positioning. It can trick you very, very easily. So let me say bottom minus 10 pixels, 10%, nope. Let me say minus 20 pixels, minus 10. Okay, you know what? Let me say bottom. Let me just say bottom 0, like that. And then let me give this a background color of white, like that, so you can see that it is kind of overlaying on this. So I'm going to increase this right to 150, like that, and increase this bottom, let's say bottom 30 pixels, so that it moves upwards. Let's say 50 pixels, moves even more upwards, and then lets me have a padding of 50 pixels all around, like that. And look at that, we have our overlay, and we just need to separate it out a bit from this, right? So we can do that, and I'm going to say for the creations, for my creations desktop, I'm going to say let me have a margin on the top, so margin top of 50 pixels, like that, so that it separates it out just a bit. And then I'm going to say for this class of interactive, let's see if I can say a max width. Let me see what happens. Max width of 900 pixels. Nothing happens. Let's say margin of auto. Nothing happens. Okay, that's fine. That's really fine. All I need to do now, let's see, just to make sure that nothing breaks, making sure that nothing breaks. And this is not what I wanted, so I'm going to grab this, remove this media query again, and then just paste it below this. Let's say 100. Let's say 50. Okay, you know what, let's say 0, and then reduce this to 600. Okay, yeah, that looks better. Yep, that looks better. We just need to change these two for the interactive text on, what was it, on 1280. So I'm going to say for the interactive text, grab these two, change this back to 800, change this back to, what was it, 100 pixels, was it? Yeah, there you go, there you go, looking very nice. And then one thing that I want to do is actually set these widths to, the widths of the images to 100%, so that they don't do this, you know, they don't leave this one. Or I can say for this, what class is this? Okay, so let me see if I can go inside this div that is holding these images and say text align center. Let me see if that will work. Or instead of that, let me try something first. This is for the mobile, so it's Creations Mobile. Did I display it as grid? Right here. Let me see if I can say place items to the center. Yeah, there you go, place item center. That looks much better, looks much better. Okay, so I think the only thing that we're remaining with would be the header, our button right there. So let's deal with our button. And where was our button? It was right here. And right here I'm just going to start and I'm going to say for my menu button, for the header.menu btn, when it has a class of rotate, then I want to target each of the individual bars. Remember, you gave them unique values, and I want bar 1 to transform and rotate. I want it to rotate 40 degrees. Oops. And then let me just copy this, paste it 2 more times. I want bar 2 to disappear, so opacity of 0. And then I want bar 3 to rotate minus 40 degrees. And then I just want all of this to transition, so transition by 0.4 seconds. Okay. And then let me try adding, let me close this, and we are done with the app.js. Let me try opening this header and then just adding a class of, wait, what? A class of rotate here. And we have that, so let's style it even more. I want this to move margin top, a negative margin of, let's say 10 pixels. Let's say 16 pixels. Let's say 15. Okay, 16 is much better, like that. And then once we do that, then we need to style our header. So our navbar, I mean, so when this has a class name of open, I want to style it up a bit. So I'm going to say for my header, where do I have the navbar? I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to say let's save that. Let's see how this looks. It's right there. Okay, it's right there. Let me place this. Okay, so I need this to position absolute. right, first of all, and I need it top 0, right 0, bottom 0, and left 0 with the background color of black. This will ensure that it takes up the whole screen. Let's look at that, and we have that. And then let me say mean height of 100 viewport heights, like that, looking very sharp. And then let me just say for the navbar, for the header, for the navbar, I want to target the UL, and let me say padding on the top. Let's say padding on the top of 100 pixels, so that it moves down. Let me target this and target the LIs, and I'm going to say text transform. Actually, that won't work. I want the buttons, and I want to say text transform to uppercase, like that. Let me increase the font size to 46 pixels. Let's say 36 pixels. And then I can target each of the individual list items like that, and I'm going to say margin bottom of 20 pixels, separate them out, and then just add some padding here on the left. So padding left, let's say padding left of 20 pixels. Move them inwards just a bit, and then once that happens, actually that's all the styling that we need for this. Okay, I'm going to say we actually need to have another list item here, and this list item would be the image which has the logo right there. Let me remove this from here. Let me place a div, and then the image. Let me see what will happen. Yeah, I want it at the top like that, so I can say this, give this a class name of nav-logo, like that, and then I can target it. So I'm going to go inside the header nav. So for the header, the nav, and I want the nav-logo. I want to add a padding of let's see 20 pixels all around, like that. Actually, that looks nice. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to target our navbar, right? We need to target our navbar. Remove this class name of open because we want to add it dynamically. And I'm going to say that I actually want this to display none first of all. Actually, instead of display none, I'm going to say height of 0 and overflow of hidden. That should still work, doesn't it? What? Are you serious? Display none. Okay, display none, it's fine. And then we need to remove this class of rotate from here, so that we have that to begin with. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to for this menu button, where's the menu btn? Right here. We need to grab the menu button, and then we need to grab the navbar as well. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say for this I want an on-click event for this. So on click, I want to place my inline function, and I'm going to call it show nav, like that, and I'm going to create it. I'm going to say const show nav, like that, my arrow function, and I'm going to grab the button. So menu btn equals to document.query selector, and it has a class of menu-btn, right? Menu-btn, and then I want to grab the navbar. So copy this and just say const navbar, change this to an element of nav like that. And then I just want to say menu btn.add event listener. We're listening for the click event. Do it like that, and then I'm going to say I want the navbar to have a class list, so class list.toggle, and we're toggling the class of open on the navbar. And then I want the menu button as well to have a toggle, so we are toggling the class of rotate like that. And I hope this works. And we still can't see the navbar. Why? The navbar class of open. Oh, you know what? It's because I don't have it right there. I don't have the class of open. So I'm going to say for the navbar, for the header, for the nav, once it has the class of open, then I want to display block like that. And we have that. I'm still not sure. I've still not been able to figure out why we need a double click here. I did a project similar to this. If you saw the video, I'm still not sure why we need a double click. If you know why, please leave a comment in the comment section, of course. And then now we just need to display our navbar on bigger screens, so at about 992 pixels. Once we change this to a different showcase, let me see where we did that. It was at 1024 pixels, so I'm going to say right here for the header, I want to target the menu btn, and I want this to display none like that. And then I want the header and I want the navbar to display block like that. And we need to style it up. Let me push this to the side. And then once I push it to the side, I'm going to say background color transparent like that. And then we need this nav logo to not display, so inside the header for the nav, and I want to target the .nav dash logo, I want to say display none, so that there are no conflicting logos right there. And then what do we need to do? I need to target these buttons and reset their styles, so let me just grab them from the top right here. Actually, even this one, right? Let me go back. Where was I? This is the showcase. Where am I? 10.4 pixels. Okay, right there. And then change this back to 15 pixels. Change this to capitalize. Change this to margin bottom of 0 and margin right of 20 pixels. Let's save that, and we have this. So inside the header now, let me go above this. So inside the header, we now need to say display flex. Is that it? It's already displayed flex, right? Isn't it? Let me see. For the header, it's already on display flex, so I just need to change the flex direction. So let's go back right there, and I say flex direction, change it to row. Is it not? Really? Is this working? Okay, it's working. Okay. Let me see. What is happening? Okay, so let me just do this instead. Inside the UL, I'm going to say header nav UL. Let me say display flex. So that happens. Let me see if I can say top 0. I don't know whether this is positioned absolute. It's not. Let's say position absolute, and it's not. Let me remove the padding of 0, and then let's say what was it, justify content to space between, right? Let me remove this first of all. But why doesn't it work on this, on the header? Let's see, justify content to space between. Nothing happens. Why doesn't anything happen? Why doesn't anything happen? If I have to say right of 0, will it go to the right? It goes extremely to the right. Really? Okay, it goes a right of 0. Okay, so let me do this. We have this, so let me say top of 10 pixels. Push it down so that it's the same height as this. Okay, let me target the button so that I can increase the font size. Let me say 18 pixels instead, so that we have that, it's more visible. And then actually, you know what, let me say for the header, let me add a padding on the header, a padding of, let's say 20 pixels and 30 pixels on the left and right. This moves this down, but this is positioned absolute, so it's not affected. But instead we can say that for this, for the top, where's the top, we have 10 pixels, let's say 20 pixels on the top, and at the right, let's say 30 pixels. Move it down so that it's the same line as this. Okay, and then I just want to increase, okay, this is fine actually, this is fine as it is really. So the button is here, the creation is there, and we have the leader in interactive VR, and we have this. Okay, looking good. I think actually that's the end of this. Is it? Let's look at the design. Let's see how this looks. Oh, you know what? These are the same age as well as this, so we need to fix that. The footer had a padding of 250 pixels, if I remember correct, at 1280. So on the header at about 1280 pixels. Let's see. Right here, I'm going to say for the header, then I just want, I want padding on the left to be 200 pixels. Was it 200 or 250? I can't remember. Let me just confirm the footer. I said it's already at the bottom. So set this to 250 pixels for the header, move it inwards just a bit, and then for the header, for the nav UL, I'm going to say on the right by 250 pixels. Push it inwards like that, and then we need to push this inwards and push this inwards. So this is the interactive component. Where is it? Interactive. Like that. I need a padding of 0 on the top and bottom and 250 pixels on the left and right. Push it inwards like that. Actually on the top and bottom, let's say 50 pixels. Separate it out just a bit from this, and then we have that. Look at that, looking very nice. Now they're all on the edge and they look uniform, and it's amazing. Oh, we still need to push this inwards, so we need the, what's it called, we need the showcase, we need the overlay, and we need the H1, and say margin on the left to 250 pixels, and let's say padding of 0. No, not on this, but on the overlay. So for the showcase overlay, let's say padding of 0, like that. Wow. Okay, so I think that's the end of the project. We have completed it successfully, and now we just need to submit it to, what's it called, to Frontendmentor. So I'm going to say Frontendmentor dashboard, like that, and we need to commit this to GitHub, right? we need to commit this to GitHub first of all. So let me stop my server. Oops. Set cards. We need to first fix these errors. This is in CreationsJS. So in CreationsJS, close this. Oops. Close this. And then in CreationsJS, we just need to go above this line and say ESLint disable next line, like that, and then just copy this and go inside CreationsDesktop, and above this just paste that in, and we should have no errors in our console, and it's looking nice. So I'm going to now stop my server like that, and then I'm just going to say git add all, which will add everything, and you can check everything by saying git status. You can see it's all green, and say git commit, and just say Loopstudios Landing Page, like that. And then now we need to create our repository, so head over to GitHub, create a new repository, say Loopstudios Landing Page, and then just create repository like that. And once it creates the repository, just copy this and say git remote add origin, and then just paste it in, and then say git push -u origin main, which will push everything to the newly created GitHub repository. So just give it a moment. Almost done. Let's see if I refresh this. It's almost done, and then we actually need to head over to Netlify so that we can deploy this. So let me just say netlify.com, like that, log in. So as it logs in, this should be complete. Oops. Though this should be fine if I reload it. Really? I have to do this again. Git push. And then once this logs in, I'm really stressing out my computer right now. I just need to go to solutions. Where is it? My profile first of all. Like that. And which, oops. Oh, these are the ones I've committed. I've submitted, not committed. I need to actually, where is my solutions, my challenges, right there, and view challenge hub. And I think from here is where you can submit our solution. So submit solution, but we haven't technically deployed it. So new site from Git has this reloaded. What? This is still what's happening? What is happening? Everything should be fine. Everything should be fine. And there you go. Okay, now we can reload this, and it should have everything right there. Okay, so you can select GitHub, and I already created a Loopstudios repository for this Loopstudios. So I have two repositories for Loopstudios. I'm going to delete one. So Loopstudios. Let's see what it returns. And this is the newly created one that we want to deploy. So npm run build, and everything looks fine. But what's happening? Okay, I think I just need to let this load just a bit more. Can close this. Really, I would like to submit a solution from GitHub. Just call this Loopstudios that, and then deploy site, which will build our site. It will build it. I want to change this to change site name to Loopstudios, like that. Save. I hope no one has this name, of course. Loopstudios React, or let me say Loopstudios TSP Sankara. I know no one has thought of that. Okay, so once it deploys, this will be the URL. So I can go back to this and you can see it's still building. So I can say submit solution. The repository is https github.com/loopstudios landing dash page. That should be it. We can confirm it, and there you go. Okay, so I'm going to say Loopstudios landing page in ReactJS. And I know we did a lot of CSS. But I hope that's good practice. It's good practice. Instead of always using a framework, you should have more than one way to do something at least. And then live site URL, so we need to wait for this to finish. Can reload it, and this has completely deployed. Oops, I need to go to the site right there, and you can see our thumbnail, and this is our website, looking very nice, looking amazing. Okay, so once we have that, we can just copy this URL, can close that, and then we can just paste it right there, and then we submit solution. And then do not refresh the page, of course. We just wait for it to finish, and then we receive our Frontendmentor points, looking very nice, very dashing right there. Completed view solution. And I would like to share this, so I'm just going to open Twitter, just grab all of this, open Twitter, and just post it right away like that, and then just tweet it, and there you go. And we have successfully completed this challenge, and I hope you really enjoyed it as much as I did, because it was a real challenge to get this layout correctly. So if you enjoyed the video, if you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below anything that you think I can improve on, and I will see you in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe.